This episode is sponsored by UPMC Altoona Elite Orthopedics. UPMC Altoona Elite Orthopedics and the UPMC Sports Medicine Concussion Program are proud to support youth sports across our region and proud to sponsor the high school football preview show on the Mirror TV YouTube channel. To learn more about their board-certified orthopedic surgeons, their specially trained concussion management experts, and the wide range of orthopedic conditions they treat, visit upmcaltoona.com/ortho. To schedule an appointment in one of their offices in Hollidaysburg, Ebensburg, or Bedford, call 814-889-3600. That's 814-889-3600. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the final show of the season here on Mirror TV on YouTube, the Altoona Mirror High School Football Preview Show. Week 16, one game to talk about. Bishop Guilfoyle versus Redbank Valley, Thursday.
At 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I got to introduce everybody quick. Mike Boydum, our all-everything high school football beat writer. We're joined again by Northern Bedford coach Garry Black, who's now on the record books as being the second high school coach to come back to our show. And I was able to get this guy to come with us, Tyrone football coach John Franco, who actually grew up with me. He's my brother, which is the worst kept secret in the history of this building and of some of the people in our sports department. But Garry played Redbank Valley, so he can tell us about that. John's been working for WRTA the last couple weeks with Rich DeLeo covering BG football, so he can give us a perspective there. We're going to let Mike start first he's going to talk to Garry a little bit, and Coach Franco can also jump in on this conversation. I'm just going to be the listener on this week's episode, which will be hard for a lot of people to believe. But Mike, go ahead.
Well, I know Coach Black would rather be getting his team ready to go to Hershey right now than be in here with us, but just how close were you guys against Redbank Valley? And I know it came down to a fourth down play and everything.
Yeah, tough pill to swallow. We went down and scored on our first drive, led 14-7 at the half, and then they came back and scored 2 in the second half, and we made a drive to end the game. And 4th and 9, they get called for targeting. I wish in high school it was automatic first down like it is in college and NFL, but it wasn't. So went from 4th and 9 to 4th and 2, and I believe we would have had the touchdown there if they wouldn't have had the targeting play. The ball hit us right in the hands, but it is what it is. 4th and 2, we ran no gain. They blitzed the A-gap backside and chased it down from behind and made a play, and so they moved on.
What do you think as far as Redbank's strength on offense, as far as what BG is going to be concerned about?
So offensively, Redbank's they're one of those teams that they did. I think they made the summer circuit on 7-on-7s, from what I've been told. And we played them last year in the state playoffs, and they were almost all juniors. So they were coming back for this year, and I believe they only had maybe 2 or 3 starters that were gone on both sides of the ball combined. And on the 2 outside receivers, they're both 6'4", 6'5". Number 9, a Chris Marshall kid, can run, catch, very physical receiver. He's always on their offensive right. And number 10's on their left side. He's a thinner guy, but they're both really fast, big-time vertical threats for Redbank Valley. And their quarterback, Bryson Bain, I think it's Bryson's how you pronounce it. He's a first-year quarterback, hadn't played since junior high, an IUP baseball commit that decided to come out and join the team. And
He's a star. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, he comes out, throws for like 2,000 yards, but he throws a deep ball really well. So they're going to have to contend with that outside threat. And then inside, offensively, they have 2 Schreckengoss kids. One's number 24, and he's a 215-pound running back. He's been out the last couple weeks, I think for some discipline, but I don't know the story there. And then number 3, and from what I saw in the paper, I don't think they're related, is another Schreckengoss that only weighs about 140. And very physical player for his size, runs the ball well, and up front, lots of size and lots of experience. Guys I think 55 and 77 have both started like all 4 years up front, so lots of experience.
And Marshall, the receiver he was talking about, is the one that had the big interception against Bishop Guilfoyle this past week to turn the game around. I think it was like 95-yard interception return for a touchdown. So, I mean, you actually had some plays this year that were impacted by big pick sixes that kind of turned your games around this year.
Yeah, we did. Bald Eagle area was a major one. That loss, we had the game, and it was 9-7, and they picked it off and returned for a touchdown, and so it was 14-9, and then they went for 2. It was 13-9. They went for 2. That was the last score of the game, and that it killed us. And then the next week, we're driving on Penns Valley, and we get picked off for a 95-yard return. Now we come back and won that, but that kind of was a turning point for our team because we brought the freshman kid in, and he just lit it up, and he's going to be a good one. But I was trying to hold on to the senior and give him every opportunity and every chance, but the pick sixes kill you.
Yeah, and that's one thing with both of these coaches. They both have really young quarterbacks that are going to be coming back next year and be expected to do big things, because I know Ian, he got so much better as the year went on, and Ashton getting a lot of playing time towards the end of the stretch there. He was moving up the rankings on the stats, and he didn't even play at the beginning of the year. So both these coaches have quarterbacks set for a while.
Well, since you've seen BG the last 2 weeks, and it sounds like they have a nice passing game, did you see enough of BG's DBs to say because you said Canton didn't really throw the ball well, Juniata Valley kind of chose not to throw the ball.
Yeah, so the way
Rother's
BG,
one of their DBs, right?
Yeah,
Rother.
the way BG, from listening to what Gary just said, BG has been getting pushed around with the running game, and I know that Canton, they just weren't going to throw the ball. It didn't matter. So BG had 9-10 guys in the box every play, and they were just getting shoved back and shoved back and shoved back. But like any good team's going to do, they made a few adjustments, but they still were getting run on. But they were able to keep 10 guys in the box consistently, and that ended up making the difference because they could not throw, and it didn't matter whether he threw one hitch, and then he ran around a couple times and got sacked, and he just. They weren't going to throw. As simple as that. They had a 19-play drive in the first quarter, and they didn't score. And they threw one pass in the drive, and that was it for a hit. It was a little hitch pass, which the guy had to make a great catch on it. I think BG, though, has really good skill kids. And I think BG's defensive backs will match up well with anybody's wide receivers at this point. They also can put some pressure on the quarterback. In today's game anymore, especially if you're playing a throwing team, you got to have 2 defensive ends that can rush and 2 corners that can cover. And if you can do that with a lot of these spread offenses that we're seeing now, then you've got 1 foot up on it already. BG can do that. And I think if you just try to do one thing on them, they're going to be able to handle that, like any team, usually. But if Redbank Valley can equalize their running and passing attack, and when you say equalize, that doesn't mean that you run the ball 35 times and you throw the ball 35 times. What it means is that whatever your strength is, you're still able to offset it using the other side of the coin, either throwing or running, just to keep guys out of the box or to make people respect it. So if Redbank Valley can do both, that is going to help them against BG. because you're not going to be able to just do one thing and win a state championship.
What did they do against you?
So offensively,
Was it a balance?
So I thought our defense played. We got better and better as the year went on. We mixed it up. We played a 4-man front. We played a 3-man front and dropped an extra safety back. And doing both of those things helped us. We had to put ourselves in spots to defend what they were doing. So we had a lot of automatic calls based on the alignments that we would see from Redbank Valley, the expected plays that come from a 3x1 set or a 2x2 set, or they run a 2-back set. And as you're trying to defend those, we had automatic fronts that we wanted to do. So they did. We played really well. We had poor conditions, so we get to Clarion, and it was completely different than anything you saw down here. They had to have plowed the field off in the morning.
It was a snow globe.
And it looked like a snow globe.
I
It
saw it
literally
on
did.
the
You were looking at the film.
There were times where it was absolutely pounding snow. So I think that helped us. But they're explosive. 9 had a 40. Their touchdowns were like a 40-yard touchdown catch by Marshall, and he's the one that had the targeting. Like, it was a great football play for him. Like, he made a great play. 9 is an outstanding football player. So he did that, and then that number 3 kid that he hadn't hardly played running back. He had less than 100 yards coming in because the other Schreckengoss, the 215-pound one, was their main ball carrier. And after we scored, we kicked off, and our kickoff team's been unbelievable all year. And this kid returns it for a touchdown, makes a guy miss, gets the edge, and then he scores again on a 50-yard run. So their plays were chunk plays, and they have the athletes to do that they can score from anywhere at any time. With the speed that they have on the outside, you start worrying about defending that, and then they got you up the middle, and they can hit you with some things. So I think that's going to be the challenge for Guilfoyle to try to defend that.
Well, I actually have a question for Mike because, listen, you two, do you think that who had the harder bracket, BG or Redbank? Because you probably seen it more than, I don't know if you guys paid attention to that when you were doing your research the last 2 weeks. Is there any one school?
Well, BG had to go through District 6, the bracket, basically. I mean, Canton's the only team they had to play outside District 6. But, they both played a team from our area. They had to go through Northern Bedford, and BG had to go through Juniata Valley. I would say that it's probably equal. These teams are very equal. And one thing I wanted to say about what Coach Franco was saying is BG they can bring that balance. They haven't brought that balance much the past 2 games because they've been able to run. They've been able to get ahead against Canton. Now, Kiesewetter, he just went over 1,000 yards rushing for the season, and he almost has 2,000 yards passing. So he can throw the ball. And I think if they would fall behind, they could throw the ball a little bit more to get back into these games if they need to. But they don't want to take that chance if they don't have to. So I think that they would rather run with Kiesewetter. And if they can win that way, that's what they do. But I think they can throw.
Is it as easy as saying Redbank stops Kiesewetter?
Well, you know what? You didn't go into the offense yet. That's why we were just talking defense, okay? And what they would have to do on defense. If you want to go to their offense, I agree with Mike 100%. BG has the 2 games that I saw them. They were just going to run the ball, and their offensive line really has developed from what and. I just know from talking to Justin Wheeler throughout the summer when we had 7-on-7s, he was really concerned about their line. He thought that was going to be the place that was going to hurt them. And it seemed like the second half of the season, their line really started coming along and they started to run the ball pretty well. And I know from watching them, and then in crucial times against Juniata Valley and Canton, that Kiesewetter can throw. And they've got good receivers. I mean, that passing game is there if needed. Now, he was off Friday night. I mean, he threw the one, he rolled out to the right, and he hit a crossing route coming, and I forget who the receiver was. And if they're listening to that, they'll probably be upset at me. But it was a
could have been Pat Riley. We'll throw a name out.
I don't know who it was, but he made it. It was a 30-plus yard
maybe
reception.
Drew Abraham.
No, it wasn't. It was a wide receiver or a tight end, one of the two. But and you remember that, Mike? He came down. It was a 30-some yard.
Yeah, Shaq caught a 35-yard touchdown.
There you go.
pass
Number 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this wasn't a touchdown pass, but he caught whoever it was caught a pass and it set up their first touchdown.
Yeah, Yanchak got 35.
Was that
catch.
Yanchak thing? Yeah, he was a great athlete. That could
Mirror's
play
athlete
anywhere.
of the week, just a free plug for him.
Yeah, and so you know, he showed. But then after that, he was the ball was high coming off his release, and but he can do it with Kiesewetter. And I've watched him now 2 games, and their running game is set up around him. He runs from the Wildcat, and it's not really Wildcat because he's a quarterback, I guess, but he runs the quarterback running play, quarterback ISO, quarterback power, fake the regular ISO and power, and he runs a counter trap with the tackle or an end pulling backside very well. He runs a quarterback sweep. But I'll tell you what his best running play is he drops back to pass, he gets a rush, and he just takes off. And he creates, and you can't get him.
He's like Lamar from the Ravens.
I'm telling you what, this kid, he just has a knack for making plays. And he's probably at his best throwing the ball when he's creating.
Yeah.
He finds a receiver. He knows whether he needs to run or that he can look for the receiver. And then at the end of the half, with only a couple of seconds left, he knew, hey, I've got to get this in the end zone. And he scored the touchdown. That was one of the most incredible games just by a quarterback, not on designed runs, even though the running game was set up so that he was going to be the primary ball carrier. And they did use number 13,
Cooper Roth.
and occasionally number 26,
Drew Abraham.
Abraham. I mean, they're 2 really good backs. But, boy, Kiesewetter a man. He's a guy that you better stop. And even in the second half, you could see they took their outside rush guys, their contained guys, and they kind of limited them so that they were waiting for him to break out. They were going to say, hey, set up and throw the ball. We don't think you can do it. And he would set up, and he still outran them and created.
He's only a junior, right?
Yeah.
And he's only a junior. This kid
Dre
is
Graham's a
real
junior,
deal.
too.
Yeah, they've
Rother.
got a lot of
Yeah,
young
Junior.
guys.
Cooper Rother's a
Yeah.
junior.
Well, so if I'm, when we talk about Red Bank's defense, so if you're Guilfoyle attacking Red Bank's
Yeah.
defense, Red Bank plays a lot of man free. And if they can get Kiesewetter running the ball, if you're playing an offense, so we went double tight power eye, the most basic football you could go that game. They like to play a 4-man front. We thought that would spread him out, and they're going to keep that. They want to keep him back there free, and you're just beating them in the box. Okay, so if Kieseweatter's running, our guy's handing it off. So now it's 10 basically because you've handed off 10 against 11. If Kieseweatter's the runner, you got 11 versus 11 because he's the guy carrying it, and we gave our sophomore Adam Johnson 33 carries, and we were able to pick up first downs, get 4 yards at a clip. If BG's patient and runs at them, and then they can hit the spots. But I had talked to Coach Wheeler a little bit and said, the offense, I think that would be a Wildcat type offense, like what Wimber runs with that single wing. If you're just snapping it and going and attacking them, I think that's one of the benefits, especially if 24 doesn't play for Red Bank, because the kid that's the running back is a nice athlete at 215, also plays D tackle. So if he's gone and not there, that's where we attacked. I mean, we lined up and went right over and over and over.
Did he play against you guys?
He did not.
Okay, so you don't know if he's playing this
And I
week.
don't know. But then the star defensively for Red Bank Valley is their defensive end. If you try to pass, which that's what Bishop Canavan was trying to do last week. If you're trying to pass, number 2, the Mansfield kid is absolute terror. We couldn't block him in 2020. This year, since we went power, he was out at end, and we were running inside of him, and then we would sweep and double him,
Is he a
and then
big
run
kid
inside
or
of
just
him.
an athlete?
Just a stud.
Okay.
215 pound,
Did you run at him at all?
yeah, the whole game we ran at him.
You can run
to
at
try
him, yeah.
The thought was if we run at him and he can do what he
Just
does,
slow
we
him
try to
down
beat him up a little bit.
and kick him out.
And
take him
that's
out,
what
yeah.
we would run
Does he line
inside
up
him
over
and
the
then
right
double.
tackle or left tackle?
He'll play some wide side, but he was lining up over our left side, but
So who's that on
And then-
BG? Do you know? Off the top
or
of your head?
he was lining up over our right side. So I'm not
All
sure.
I
but-
know is that they Canton got a ton of pressure from the outside, and that's what was causing
That-
his scrambling the whole night. But
And you scramble against that, but when 2 comes upfield, you scramble against it. He can recover. Like he's an outstanding player at defensive end. He's a 2-time District 9 Defensive Player of the Year.
Wow.
So he was that as a junior, and then I saw it again as a senior.
So couldn't recover.
This kid can recover. So he's a really good player. I think it's going to be a great game. It's something that I do every year. I go down to the state finals and watch. Knowing this year, it could have potentially been in the cards. You didn't think it was going to play out that way, but you asked about which side would have been harder. On the side of Canton, they had to beat the defending state champs in Steel High.
Yeah.
But then if you come out of the West, it's 5, 10, 9, and then the Whitfield. That's been the part for anybody else out of 5, 9, 10 trying to beat the Whitfield team to get there. When you're dealing with teams like Clareton and Jeanette and stuff like that who perennially are there, it's difficult. So it's kind of neat to see a new team there in Redbank Valley representing District 9.
Yeah, and Redbank was down 14-0 in that game against the Whitfield champion and came back and won that in the semi.
Down 14-7 to us. Their game, another really good team from District 9 that we saw, they played this Union AC Valley in the district championship, and Redbank was up 21-0 on them. And Union AC Valley came back and scored 21 unanswered to tie the game, and then they lost right at the end too. So Redbank's been in close games. BG's been in close games here the last couple weeks, so it should be good.
And real quick here, Mike is going to show us some stuff here. Dan's going to splice it in here. We're going to show you some of the heartache that BG's gone through in their last 2 seasons.
Well, the thing is everyone knows from 14 to 2016, BG won those 3 straight state titles. I know you can't assume things would happen or anything, but BG could really be playing for their 3rd straight state championship right now. They had some real bad heartbreak the past 2 years. They lost in overtime in the state final to Farrell on a field goal that was blowing in the wind.
The wind took it.
That was crazy.
And then they also lost last year in the state semifinals at Stilton High Spire after a defensive pass interference on a Hail Mary. So here's those 2 plays. Maybe the BG people might want to close their eyes
on this one. Okay, so there we go. Technology brought to you by Dan Eisenberg of the Altoona Mirror. Let's wrap up here real quick. I don't know if we can ask coaches to make predictions. I know Mike and I already had our predictions in the paper. Do you think, is this BG because of, the role they're on, or, Redbank beating the District 7? Like, you brought up a great point. You beat a Whitfield team. That's pretty good. You saw some of the Whitfield teams a couple weeks ago when North Catholic played. Somebody there. I can't remember.
That was AAA too.
Yeah, it was AAA. Yeah, but still, Whitfield is Whitfield.
Yeah, it's a different brand, but
it's still a different. When you go to the different classifications, it's really different.
But whenever I look at it, I look at one of those things like, I think it's going to be a great football game. I haven't seen enough of Guilfoyle, but I think something that's going to play to their benefit. Again, I was talking to the coach the other day we were picking my brain a little bit and talking about what we did. I'm like, when will you get down? Like Thursday morning, Wednesday night? Oh no, we go Wednesday morning. They know the routine because they've been there.
Yeah.
They have. When you've been there, you know what you're going to do. They know where they're going to eat. They know where they're going to run their pregame practice. I think that's going to play in BG's favor. But Redbank Valley has kind of just been on this run since last year that they're not going to back down. They've played good teams, and I know from that's where we talked before about that 7-on-7 stuff of where it can benefit you. They've played against, so classifications don't matter in that as much. You're going to play anybody. They've played 3A, 4A, 5A schools in 7-on-7. So I don't think they're going to back down. I hope it's a great football game and an absolute classic to watch.
I know you're not allowed to make picks either, right?
Well, but going on what Gary was just saying, the other factor is that when it's your first time there, and this is their first time, right?
Yeah.
Redbank Valley. I don't care what they say, and they'll say all the right things to the paper, because we all know what to say to you guys, okay? because we know it's rat poison, right? Like
Oh,
Nick
Coach
Saban would say.
Coach Saban.
But doesn't matter. The first time you're down there is a comfort level that, and I know we had it in '96. It was a comfort level that, and I know I'm going the whole week. We can't focus. We can't just because we're here. We got, and no matter what I said or anything else, we went out. Now we didn't play badly, but the difference then in the second time we were there
In
and
99.
the third time we were there was like you said. We knew the routine. We knew where we were going. We knew we were going to practice the day before. We knew what time we were going to eat. And we knew that the Western Final didn't matter, that we had to focus on the game. And that's where I think BG has a big advantage.
You know,
And at Redbank Valley, they're probably as good as BG. Like you were saying, I think probably talent-wise, they're probably even Steven, and but BG knows what's going on, and they've got that advantage, and don't ever discount that. That's a big factor with high school kids.
and you got to look at this too. So the preparation for how you're going to handle the week. Thursday's your walkthrough. They're playing Thursday at 1.
So everything
Like,
that should-
Well, and
Everything's
here's another
everything's been
advantage
pushed
for
back. The
BG.
game's Thursday afternoon at 1 o'clock.
But here's another advantage for BG. They're used to playing Saturday games. So this becomes like a game where, they play Saturday night and then they've got to play Friday. So it's the same schedule as playing, you played Friday, now you're playing Thursday. And they've done that at least 5, if not more times. So that's another advantage they have. You're right. Because that is, boy, when you take one day off the preparation week and you're not used to it, boy, all of a sudden it's, oh man, where are we? But BG, they do that too because they play so many Saturday games, preceded by a or they'll play a Friday game preceded by a Saturday game. So it's the exact same thing as playing a Thursday game preceded by a Friday. So you're right, and that's another advantage BG has. Yeah. So yeah, I'll go back on and I'll pick BG. I'll say 2 touchdowns, 10 points.
Oh, look at that.
I'll take Redbank because I hope that we can say we lost.
You can say, hey, we had Felix here a couple weeks ago. I told him, I said, if Central or BG wins the state championship, he can say, hey, we beat BG. Penn Cambria beat them during the season. So I said, coaches will hang their hat on that. You have a stat for us here before we say goodbye?
Yep.
Oh, look at that.
Well, see?
Oh, we were talking about Big Felix. Look.
He's here. He's here.
His spirit's here.
So, sad week this week is the 7 teams from District 6 have played in the state championship. You got Forest Hills in 1994, and Tyrone 3 times in 1999, 1996, and 2011. Bishop McCourt in 2009, Homer Center in 2017, and Bishop Carroll in 2003, and State College in 2009. And obviously BG was 14 through 16, and they made it 19, and then this is their 5th appearance this year. Only 3 teams have ever made it from District 9, and none have ever won. So
Redbank,
Smethport, and had the other
I put
one
Mike
here.
on the spot again. I've done that all year long.
Smethport was really good there in the mid-90s.
But so we know that Redbank has a chance to make history then for District 9. But this is the part of the show while Mike's looking. I'm not going to give him time to mock my...
Keystone was the other one in
Keystone, there you go.
1989.
Wow.
I wanna know what's the name of the game.
This is where we're going to run our cool name segment. We're going to run it down. I didn't want to do one. I didn't want to force one. Did you have anybody at BG in the early 70s that you thought had a unique... Gary Ikeni was a name I remember.
Gary Icavella.
John Icavella. But Gary Icavella. See, Gary, that would have been a cool name.
Kicker.
He was a kid. I just like cool names. Like right now, even after 2 years, the best cool name still is a BG defensive lineman named Sante Bombacci.
Oh, that's because it's Italian.
It's Italian, but it's a cool name.
What about Schreckengost?
Schreckengost. What's his first name? See,
They call no. Listen, that number 3. That
They
kid,
call him Shrek, bro.
No, listen, that kid that's like 135. Boo Schreckengoss.
See, now that would have been.
That's-
That
you
could've
would
been
like
on
that
our
name,
list.
I thought
I do
that.
like Boo, but his first name was like
See,
Trevor
we had
or
two
something like that.
Schreckengoss that played for me at Tyrone.
Okay.
Billy Schreckengoss
Billy
was one.
Schreckengoss. And,
I have a cool name for
Okay,
you.
our producer director from behind the camera.
From Mount Lebanon, the wide receiver, he's going to Navy next year. Eli Heidenreich.
And he had 5 touchdown
The
catches.
one who had 5
He's a
touchdowns
running
against-
back who caught 5 touchdown passes for Mount Lebanon against State College this weekend. But I still don't want to force it. But I want to thank our coaches for coming in. Garry Black, Northern Bedford, my brother here, John Franco. If he hadn't been a football coach or a teacher, I don't know if I'd be a sports writer. I'm thinking, what if he would have been like a doctor or something like that? Where would my life have
Could have
changed?
written a medical journal.
I could have written a medical journal.
Hey,
But anyways,
one question I have, I always bring something to distract me while he's doing the cool names, and this week I grabbed this football. This is one of the footballs they throw out at the Tyrone football games. Now this is from the 1999 season. Now usually these were always orange or white, and this year during the playoffs, the 1999 playoffs, they made the ball gold. Did you guys know you were going to win states that year?
Hey, our guys always believed they were going to win. It didn't matter.
who paid for that? Was that a Harry Singer?
I never saw any of these balls before. This is the first time I've seen
Yeah, they threw them out. They threw them out after they scored touchdowns.
McClellan Trucking.
Well, and you know what? It's for the whole playoffs. So,
Yeah.
so they're
They
going
were
to go
throwing
with
them out.
gold.
They
So
knew
it's
they
all-
were
And
going to win.
again, going back to what we were saying, I mean, after '96, when we went in, it was like, hey, that we're in it to win it. We're not going down there. We're not happy that we're here. And you know, I remember making the comment that we're going to stay and play till midnight that's how long it takes us to win. But we're not leaving that place. And that wasn't just talk. Our guys felt that way. But the first year, it didn't matter what I said. It was like, oh, we're in the state championship. Oh my God!
At Mansion Park, too.
Mansion Park State Championship, and it was like, geez, man, these guys. And so you know, it was different, but
And that was 96. How old were you in 96, real quick?
I was a sophomore.
In high school? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you go to the
Is that when they
game?
had like Jesse Jones?
No.
Yeah,
that was
before-
99.
With
We had
Jared Anderson?
Marcus Owens,
Marcus Owens.
Jared
Okay.
Anderson, Luke Friday, Craig Starr. I mean, we had some really.
I think it was only 7-6 at halftime.
It was 7-6 at halftime. It was 13-6 with 9:52 left in the game. We're driving. We throw. We're going to throw a rollout pass. Our center misses the nose coming backside. He rushes the throw. Jared throws it up. They pick it off, and he goes 75 yards
Big
for the
six.
touchdown.
So once again, pick six. How
Pick six.
big of a
And how
play
old
that
were you
could
in
be.
96?
I was in middle school. I think.
Dan, were you even born yet? Dan was 4. So we know Dan was. Dan's from Tyrone, too. But anyways, we're going to have to wrap it up because I think you two people are going to get mad at us for going over again. Again, this is our final show of the year. Thanks to
Do
Dan.
you want to
Thanks-
do your list of?
Well, he's going to do the list, Dan. Dan's going to run it up on a thing. I can't go over all of it. I've had some great favorite names this year, but still, again, from last year when we started doing this, Sante Bombaci forever will be my favorite name until another one comes and passes.
Hey, and since
it.
we didn't have anybody make the state championship last year, and that's when you started doing the cool names, he's your first cool name to make the state
How
championship.
about we can put that'll be a trivia question someday, hopefully. But for everybody here, so long and see you next year. Take care.
Listen. Oh, I wanna know what's the name of the game.
My 2 cool names I'm going to start with, it was from the Altoona Holliesburg game last week. Altoona has a kid on the team. He's an offensive lineman. His name is Logan Klein. Now that'll appear on your screen there. Spelled. He sounds like a lawyer from a TV show on the CW network. Logan Klein. And then my second name, the kid from Holliesburg, you'll hear from him as this year goes on because he's going to play. His name is Elijah Ransom. Biblical, and just that last name, there's so many possibilities for headlines there. Elijah Ransom from Holliesburg and Logan Klein from Altoona. Those are our first 2 entries into the cool names segment. I thought we should get more kids involved. So our 2 new cool names this week, Central Cambria, a junior lineman, Carter Quick. A lineman, he's like 5'9", but he's like 245. Carter with a K, so hopefully Dan has that right there at the bottom of your screen. Carter Quick. And then from Glendale, this was pointed out to us that we did not have him last year. Neil Rudell's favorite name of all time, Suds Doubler. Though he is no relation to Suds Solomon, who picks football games in the mirror. Suds Doubler, really good wrestler, Glendale. He's like a running back, cornerback. But those are our two names.
Let's hope he plays this week. He took a really tough blindside hit last week against Southern Huntington and missed the second half of the game. See, I'm actually putting football knowledge in
Into
here.
the cool names.
Cool names.
And Suds actually has a brother named Zeke Doubler, which unfortunately, if there was no Suds Doubler, Zeke Doubler could have made the name because that's a great name too. But it's hard to be. In fact, I don't even know what Suds' real first name is. Do you know what it is? See, look, we don't even know, and the kid's in our paper all the time. But that's a great name regardless. I can't wait till he gets married someday. He's going to have little kids. They're going to call their dad Suds. And I even had to get a pronunciation for this because last week I called Suds Dubler the wrong pronunciation. It is Dubler. So there, I apologize to the Glendale. And actually, I found another Glendale name because even though you're only supposed to do one, I did do 2 Holliesburg kids last year. This kid's name is, and it sounds like the word rise. It's Ryder Cries, K-R-I-S-E. Glendale, like that name. I like the name Ryder, and I like Cries. And then this is my Paisan portion of the schedule where I just fall in love with Italian names. I have one from Bellwood coming down the road. But Bishop Guilfoyle has a senior receiver, real nice kid. I've known this kid since he was in Little League. Vincent Schiaffari. And if we were in Italy doing the show, his name would be called Vincente. But Vincent Schiaffari, our cool name, Ryder Cries from Glendale. That'll be added to our list. This week, this is where Dan will be putting in the Godfather music for me. Our Bellwood Annis name, Dominic Caracciolo, offensive lineman, defensive end, senior at Bellwood Annis. Bellwood Annis has a couple of Paisans on their team, but nobody has that alliteration of Dominic Caracciolo. And since I figured I was doing Bellwood Annis, I would go with Tyrone, even though they don't have a game. We can still put them on the cool name. And this name's been cool since this kid was in 10th grade. He's a senior. Keegan Gwynn. Keegan Gwynn, tight end, quarterback, linebacker. He's been there forever. I looked at the Tyrone names and I tried to think which one, and that's just the name that jumped out at me. Our cool name segment for September 29th, this will add to our list. I have Northern Bedford and Central this week. Northern Bedford's Griffin Keller. Griffin's a senior running back DB. Griffin Keller sounds like the name of a literature professor at an Ivy League school. I love that name, Griffin Keller. And then our other name is from Central. This sounds like an lineman. He's a senior. He's an offensive lineman, defensive lineman. Dakota Bem. I just like saying the name Dakota Bem. I got to think this guy pancake blocks his heart to death on Friday nights for the Scarlet Dragons offense. So actually, one of them is from Claysburg Kimmel. He's one of the young men who helped me find Coach Bilchak. Zeke Barr. Zeke Barr. That just sounds like a 6'2", 275-pound two-way lineman, which is what Zeke is. And my other name, and it's not because we got a Cambria Heights hat, I just was scanning the rosters. This kid's only a sophomore, but someday I just think this is a great headline. His name is Shane Kane. Shane Kane, he's a wide receiver cornerback from Cambria Heights, only 10th grade. Like I said, Zeke's a senior. But anyways, we got to put goalposts. If somebody wants to make us some plastic goalposts, we could bring them in and Mike could actually shoot that while we're doing that. We're going to do Portage and Penn Cambria this week as we are rounding out. We're running out of cool names. I'm going to have to go outside the district, I think. But anyways, from Penn Cambria, a junior, his name is Price Selznick. Now that'll appear above your screen there. So he's a lineman for Penn Cambria, Price Selznick. I just think that's a cool first name, Price. And then from Portage, this kid's been in the paper quite a few times, Orrin Heidler. Again, that sounds like a distinguished name. Somebody be a professor of like anthropology at St. Francis or something. Orrin Heidler, he's a senior running back, linebacker. And again, Price Selznick from Penn Cambria, he's a lineman. But that will be our, there we go, the garbage cans over there too. Yeah, here we go. Dan and I branched out. Dan helped me out this week. Actually, I got a guy who's Bishop Guilfoyle's dad who teaches at State College High School. He's a fan of the show, John Donahue. John Donahue sends me in a name, and I thought, you know what, that's a good name. So here's our two names this week. Bishop McCourt quarterback, Johnny Golden.
Oh, yeah.
It just sounds like a name from one of those 50s, 60s.
Gunslinger.
Yeah, Johnny Golden. He's a quarterback, free safety junior. And then this one's from Dan. This guy's from State College High School. He's a sophomore quarterback safety. His name is Owen Yurka. And I told Dan, Owen Yurka sounds like the guy who plays the accordion in a polka band at a VFW dance on a Saturday night. Owen Yurka. We're going to go with Phillipsburg Osceola in the Shannon Valley. Phillipsburg Osceola, Jacody Jones. Not Jacoby Jones or Jacob Jones, Jacody. He's a sophomore running back linebacker. And then my favorite one that jumped out at me, I couldn't believe I didn't see this earlier, Mo Valley. This is a very rugged sounding name. Nikolai Hansel. Kind of like Hansel and Gretel. Nikolai, and you have to say it like that. Hansel. He's a senior offensive lineman, defensive lineman, and his picture's in our mirror preview. He's a big guy too. So, which this week I did. I got Mike's game is Williamsport Altoona, and then do we know who's coming Central Mountain Holliesburg Friday night? Is it Jim Lane maybe? I'm not sure.
Yes, Jim Lane has been on the holidays.
Holliesburg Beach. So I was in an Italian feeling mood this week. Williamsport has a kid named Frankie Maroney. Love that name. It says he's a senior quarterback linebacker. Frankie Maroney. And then Williamsport may have the best Italian name. And I say that knowing how much I love Sante Bombacci from Bishop Guilfoyle. But Central Mountain has a sophomore lineman, two-way lineman, Giovanni Tarantella. Giovanni Tarantella. Someday, hopefully, if they go to college, he'll be roommates with Sante Bombacci. You'd have Tarantella and Bombacci. I think that'd be a great combination. Here we go. Mike's going to go for the field goal here between the two teams.
Hit the upright.
Let's hope that isn't ominous for Penn Cambria.
Yeah, Jim Friday about to have it. Yeah.
Maybe Coach will think of a cool name that he went to high school. While I'm talking about my cool names this week, I did Bedford and Clearfield. Bedford has a kid name, and I did it purely on alliteration. Boyd Becker. I just love the sound of that name. Boyd Becker. He's a senior, 6'2" offensive defensive lineman. And then Clearfield, I love this name just because of his last name. It's a great football name. Clearfield has a sophomore lineman, and this kid, tell you what, 5'6", 230 pounds. So you know this kid's right. His name is Nolan, and it's spelled, Daniel, Nolyn, Rockmore. I just like the name Rockmore. You see our coach yelling, Rockmore, get in there. And I've been told I was accused of putting too many Italians on there. So I looked around to see who we were playing in the area. So I picked up a kid from Reynolds, who Garry Black will see. His name is Trevor Lautzenheiser. Trevor Lautzenheiser. It sounds like a place where you could get schnitzel or some kind of kielbasa meal with a nice cold glass of beer. He's a senior tight end DN, Trevor Lautzenheiser. And then from Forest Hills, again, since they're playing here in the area, I love this name, Maddox Dombrowski. It says he's a wide receiver, DB freshman. I thought with a name like Dombrowski, you should be like a linebacker or a guard. But Trevor Lautzenheiser from Reynolds, Forest Hills is Maddox Dombrowski. Actually, if we would have thought about it, we could have put an ad on Mike's Yo-Yo. We could have maybe made some money for the show, like advertising.
Did you say something?
Two schools, not even in our coverage area, but I just know about the names. One of our stringers, Matt Michaelone, sent me a name a couple weeks ago. York High School, which is a Whitfield school, has a kid named Diesel Ford. Dan will have that spelled correctly for you. Diesel Ford. It's not a nickname. His first name is Diesel. Diesel Ford. That's a cool name. And then Berlin Brothers Valley had a kid that was typing up All-Stars this week for the Westpac. I just love alliteration. Pace Prosser. Pace Prosser. He's an All-Star for Berlin Brothers Valley. But anyways, Diesel Ford, Berlin Brothers Valley, Pace Prosser. Coach gets in fact, I'll ask Coach, did you have anybody you played with at Penn Cambria that you could say had a cool name and you could put like, anybody named like Spider Jones or Bucky Den or something like that? Because we have our names this week, and I did because we were playing for Central Valley has a kid named Mason Dixon. Mason, and if I have to explain why that name's cool, you should go yell at your history teacher from high school and college. He's a freshman running back linebacker, Mason Dixon. And then this one Mike might like. This kid's from Canton. When I looked at the roster, There you go. My sons actually had that when they were like in second grade because they used to throw it at my chest there and try to get it to stick to that. But this kid from Canton is named Raiden. It looked like Raider, but it's R-A-I-D-N. Raiden Lyon, Lyon. Raiden Lyon. He's a DN tight end, sophomore from Canton. I just thought if his parents would have been really cool, they would have named him Raider. Then Mike actually would have cared for the first time about our cool name segment, him being a Raiders fan.